When we see you before us in a realized state, coming to choices, we comprehend your choices, we understand all things, we understand several things. Most of what you choose, most of what you choose is what you're supposed to do the best. Most of what you choose will give you what you expect will be the best, but much of what you believe is the best. But much of what you believe is the best is what you're used to, that you think you can manage, that you think you can manage when you move beyond the known. When you move beyond the known, beyond the old expectations of what can be, you begin to access what exists beyond it. You begin to access what exists beyond it. Now the collective is doing this. Now the collective is doing this in ways you do not see yet, in ways you do not see yet. You're beginning to release an idea. You're beginning to release an idea of what has been, into an uncomfortable newness, into an uncomfortable newness. But it is because of this, that you actually reach higher, that you will actually reach higher above the discord. You will see above the discord. You will see when something is in change. When something is in change, there is no firmament. There is no firmament. There is no solid ground. There is no solid ground. When there is no solid ground, you begin to reach what is above you. You begin to reach for what is above you. And what is above you in this case? And what is above you in this case is a new reality, or a new way of being in consort, or a new way of being in consort with your fellow humans, with your fellow human beings. What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be human, but as of a species that has elected to learn through their experience. What does it mean to be divine? What does it mean to be divine, but to be of God, to be of God? And what it says, and once you understand this, that the human that you are is of God, and can only be so, the radical experience of change certainly upon you, is not only upon you, but it's lifting very quickly, but it's lifting you very quickly to a level of tone, where this becomes experiential, You must understand this. You must understand this. These are not strategies. For living a better life. You're going to get better. We are not teaching you how to get better at your profession, or to sleep better at night, or to sleep better at night. We are teaching you something very different, how to align to potential, how to align to a potential that is indeed your birthright, that is indeed your birthright, how to say yes to who you are, how to say yes to who you are at a level of vibration and tone that actually alters our body, that actually alters the fabric of reality. That you know yourself, and as this is done, the world itself is made new. The world itself is made new. The idea here, which is really very simple, is that the risen divine, or the monad of the Christ, or the monad, or the Christ, come as and through you, is what does this work, It actually knows what you need. It actually knows what you need, or what you require to elevate, or what you require to elevate in vibration. You will provide it, and indeed will provide it as you align to it, because you have free will. But because you have free will or choice, how you choose is essential. Some of you seek to find a reality. Some of you seek to find a reality where your needs are being met, where all your needs are being met as you think they should be, You want the catalog of the universe. Open to the happy page. Where you could have imagined, where everything you could have ever imagined is being offered to you, without consequence. Anything you choose is yours. You will learn through whatever you choose, and you will learn through whatever you choose. But you are not here enough for comfort. But you are not here so much for comfort as for realization. Now, to realize is to know. Now, to realize is to know, and one knows who she is. And when one knows who she is, she knows who others are as well. The offering we have tonight is less about holding light, holding the light than becoming the light. Becoming the light is the fabric of your experience, of the being that you are, so that the being that you are is actually extended beyond the perimeters of what you believe, beyond the perimeters of what you believe. You can hold, so become yourself, so that you may come to yourself as a vast being, with the alignment that can maintain it, Alignment is essential. Alignment is essential to align to a high tone. To align to a high tone is to move to agreement to it, which means being in consort with it, which means to be in consort with it, to be in consort with a high tone. To be in consort with a high tone is a matter of choice in some ways. It's a matter of choice in some ways. You could say you're doing something, but you can say you are doing something and then not do it, and then not do it. The alignment we teach now is not only of the body, it's not only of the body and of the fabric of spirit and of the fabric fabric of spirit, but extends beyond all these things, but extends beyond all these things, so that you may begin to exist experientially, what we call the upper room and what we call the upper room. We're not interested in ideology now. We are not interested in ideology now. We'll offer to you when you require it. We will offer it to you when you require. We care much more. We care much more about the experience of being, not a tenant of good behavior, not a tenant of good behavior, not a list of things to do or accomplish, not a list of things to do or accomplish to make you worthy of God, to make you worthy of God. You're already worthy of God. You're already worthy of God because you're of it, made of its substance and made of its substance. You understand the idea. You understand the idea that human beings are made in God's image. Human beings are made in God's image, but this is not what you understand. But this is not what you understand. You think that means you have a God that wants what you have a God that wants what you want and looks like you look and looks like you look. The substance of your being is actually beyond gender, and beyond the idea of self, and beyond the idea of self that you align to in this form, the image itself, the idea of source itself. The idea of source itself is actually love, and a great tone, a vibration that assumes all things within it, But there has been a shift throughout the millennia where you have actually degraded the beings that you are, You put yourself in separation. You have put yourself in separation, and then mandated that as a reality. But have this reality. You may have this reality as you choose it, but what claims it. But what claims it being fall away is beginning to fall away. Now you have one of sticks. Now if you have a bundle of sticks tied together, and you light them aflame, you may have a great fire. You may have a great fire when they're spread out. But when they are spread out in the ground, a bunch of twigs, they will not do so much. What is occurring now? What is occurring now is actually a splintering of identification. What things should be, are not what they seem, are not what they seem. What things were, are not present as they were. And this creates a conflagration. What are we to do with this mess we find ourselves in? What are we to do with this mess we find ourselves in? Very simply said, is indeed your mess. It is indeed your mess, or your creation, But if you look at it as opportunity, if you look at it as opportunity for further change, beyond the smoke that comes from this first fire, this bunch of sticks, this bunch of twigs tied together and lit. You can understand what is being experienced now. That what is being experienced now is simply a precursor to something other, is simply a precursor to something other. A precursor to something comes. A precursor is something that comes before something other, and the established way of being, that you have known, many of you have known, in a state of disruption actually allows for things to come to force, actually allows for other things to come to force. But what first takes the board, what first stands on the stage, stands on the stage in prominence cannot remain if it is of the low ethers. It will not remain. It is born of violence. If it is born of violence and created and claimed in fear, it will finally be dispelled. It will finally be dispelled because the stage itself, the platform that the thing sits upon, is being realigned and indeed lifted. When something is lifted, all of the things in low density would hold in place, will be moved. Some of this is graceful, most of it is not. If you look at a relationship you've had where you thought you understood the rules, how we love each other, or dislike each other for that matter, and the rules are changed, and then the rules are changed, no one knows quite what to do. But this may be essential. Releasing the relationship and releasing the old relationship, perhaps entirely, or perhaps reorganizing it, or perhaps reorganizing in a much higher way, the dance you have all been doing. The dance you have all been doing on the collective dance floor, seems to continue, We have said this for some time. We have said this for some time. You are seeking to dance. You are seeking to dance to the old music, but the music has changed. But the music has changed, and you wonder why you bump into one another, and you wonder why you bump into one another so uselessly. The new music is being established. The new music is being established. The lifting occurs. The detritus that has been claimed. The detritus that has been claimed through this shift of realities, will be swept from the stage, as the stage is lifted, Now, stage is a metaphor. Stage is a metaphor for a landscape, and the landscape you abide in is a shared one, and the landscape you abide in is a shared one. You foolishly believe that your landscape is your home, or your township, or your country, but in fact is other. It is other. It is a vast field. It is a vast field that you're all conjoined upon, and contributing to the segmentation of reality, by country, by citizenship will not be there one day. This is actually assured. In the partitions you have utilized, and the partitions you have utilized to degrade one another, and your neighbors will fall away. You do not lose what's essential. You do not lose what is essential. Perhaps the characteristics of a heritage, perhaps the wonderful legacy, of art or music, or sport that comes with the country, but you are moving beyond separation. What we'll call divine union, into what we will call divine union. This must come at the cost of, the old. Some of you wish to decide what should be, create legacy in pro forma ways, decide how things should look, based upon a postcard from the past, that will not occur. What occurs instead is the kind of change, where you can't even read the old postcard, where you can't even read the old postcard, or the old template, where the old template has been so moved that it cannot hold the old name, It must be known anew. We have said for many years. That as you name something, you reduce the thing. You make it applicable. You make it applicable to your requirements, in actually doing so. And in actually doing so, you limit the expression of the thing. Which ultimately is in vibration, an expression of God, that you have known as chair, or forest, or tree stump, It really matters not. It is all one expression. Outpictured in different ways. The vibration of the earth itself. Is actually being altered now. Because the earth wishes to maintain itself. In a healed way. And it will do what it has to. Maintain itself. And do what it wants. For its nourishment. You must understand that in some ways you are like parasites. Feeding on the planet, unless you seek to nourish it, as it nourishes you, To nourish the planet is to realize it, as of God, and consequently sacred, To heal war is to realize the one beside you, is to realize the one before you, as sacred, of God, as having a right to be, The idea that you would take an axe, to your neighbor, is so foolhardy, we cannot understand. We cannot understand why you find ways to perpetuate, violence against your neighbor, or the one across that border, whatever that border may be, whatever it is, it is still still God's landscape. It is still God's landscape. It is still the playing field. It is still the playing field that you are all sharing, and like it or not, it will all be lifting. It will all be lifting to a higher tone of vibration, to a higher tone of vibration. Now, why is this happening now? Why is this happening now? There are several reasons for it. There is an epoch, for lack of a better word, that has come to a close, and a new one that is beginning, and a new one that is beginning, but is also culminating. But it is also culminating in the understanding that if you continue as you have been, that if you continue as you have been, you will have not much to return to. You will have not much to return to, and in some ways, humanity itself, or the higher aspect of humanity, that already knows, has made the decree that we will change, lest we forego our lives, and our place of being, You have a heritage here. You have a heritage here on this planet that you know of, as your home, but this planet that you know of as your home, is where the physical self and the physical body, and all manifestation of form, and all manifestation in form expresses itself, the divine self, which holds form, actually exists at a higher tone, and what is occurring now, is a reclamation of form, and field, all things seen and unseen, in a new music, in a higher chord. Now you may imagine a piece of music playing. in a field where people are existing, no matter where you are, intending to cover ears, intending to cover your ears, or dance to the music, it is informing you, all things are being informed now. All things are being informed now by this level of change, This is what is going to be seen. That is first going to be seen as disruption, and as discord, and as discord as the very fabric of your moorings, what has held you in place, to the lower field, is shaken abruptly, This is useful, and indeed required in some ways, Many of you will not leave the building that is shaking, until you understand that it may fall, until you understand that it may fall. Many will not leave marriage. Many of you will not leave the marriage until you understand that all that is left, is a memory of love, that is no longer present, When you begin to understand, by the collective is created, then what the collective has created is being reknown, You can attend to what you see. You can attend to what you see from a high vantage point. We are not saying be a supplicant to aggression. We are not saying don't care for your neighbor. Don't care for your neighbor because this change is essential. We are saying do care. We are saying do care because it is the recognition of your neighbor's holiness, however he appears, whatever she believes in, wherever she lives, or adorns her body, in any way, still must be of God, because nothing cannot be, Now to eschew this is at your own peril. Is at your own peril. I will only pray for the God that prays back for me, that God over there, the infidel's God, I have no party to. We hate to tell you, everyone, there is only one God. There is only one God, or one source energy, that may be depicted in many different ways, beyond the mask that the gods wear, where, beyond the mass of the gods where, be it Jehovah, be it Jehovah, be it a Hindu god, be it a Hindu god, be it the man on the cross, be it the man on the cross, there is one light. There is one light and one true light and one true light, embodying in all of them, embodying in all of them. Pray to what you wish, pray to what you wish. It is all the same God. It is all the same God, but know this God is one. But know this God as one with all beings, because when you discriminate, you create the discord. You create the discord that cannot be healed without love, that cannot be healed without love. What does that mean, he asks? What does that mean, he asked? You said we're all in discord. You said we're all in discord. Love is going to fix this. Love is going to fix this. Yes, indeed it will. Yes, indeed it will, but not emotional love as you imagine it. But not emotional love as you imagine it. The realization of the divine. The realization of the divine. Come as compassion. Come as compassion. Come as care. Come as care. Come as legacy. Come as legacy of love that will support whatever it encounters, that will support whatever it encounters. The choices you make to bomb your neighbor, starve your neighbor, see your neighbor in the street, see your neighbor in the street. It's your creation. It is not God's. It is not God's. You have been given the power to create. You have been given the power to create, and the responsibility to all of your creations, to all of your creations. Now you can see this as frightening. Now you can see this as frightening, or as a great gift, or as a great gift, because you see it, you participate with it, you participate with it, because you participate with it, you can claim it anew, Imagine right now, if you wish. Imagine right now, if you wish, that every country on this globe, and every border made, was simply an idea, because indeed it once was, every border is a man-made creation, every religion, a human creation, perhaps inspired by a high thought, or a high being, or a high call, or a high calling, but perhaps the best that a human could do, with a vocabulary that was limited, it is now archaic, to true meaning, God is, the great claim we offer. The great claim we offer still holds the barnacles on the prow of every religion made, What kind of God? The God that allowed this to happen, the God that allowed this to happen, the God that would smite those people, that said this in this war, that said this in this war, upon that mountaintop, or upon that mountaintop. Which kind of God? The God of all things, or simply all, It is. We do not degrade God. We understand as the presence. We understand it as the presence that is all things, informs, but also is informs, but also is operating at different levels of tone within the common field, and then once lifted to the upper room, far more easy to be in, because you are not hindered, by the old language, and the legacy of fear, that you would seek to impose, on any true teaching, Any true teaching is always true, What is true is always true. What is true is always true, regardless of your science of the day. Regardless of your science of the day, the emperor on whatever throne, the politics of the era, and the legacy of history, that has been at war, since you began throwing rocks at one another. Each of you here, who hears these words, who hears these words has been called to the higher, and your agreement to it, and your agreement to it is all that is essential, is all that is essential for the new world that you are actually party to, to integrate, into form, in a way you understand, in a way that you may understand experientially in the coming weeks, in the coming months and years, and the coming months and years, if indeed we're allowed to teach. If indeed we are allowed to teach through the man before us, as we wish, we will take you on a journey. We will take you on a journey to an intercession, where you understand finally, what has always been true, and what it means to be, beyond the pettiness, that you strive to, for an idea of success, or even an idea of peace, or even an idea of peace, which is generally just your comfort, Once right at war there. Well, I'm so sorry they're at war there, but we're having problems at home today. My child's not doing her homework. And the neighbors are coming for dinner. You're of one people. You are of one people, one vibration. It's time to say yes, and it is time to say yes to the being that you are, perhaps at the cost of some comfort, but definitely at the cost of your investment, in the comfort that comes from ignoring your neighbor, and ignoring the hungry one, and ignoring the hungry one, and turning your back on the one, who requires shelter. The time has indeed come. The time has indeed come for those who claim themselves as spiritual, to live up to their own claim, Your spirituality is not your horoscope, it is not your prayer mat, it is not your prayer mat, it is not the locket with the strand of hair, nor is the crystal you may bow down to, These are totems. They can be helpful. But finally, your spiritual self. In an enacted way, is here for liberation. And true liberation, not just of self, but of all you see. You are gifts to the world. You are gifts to the world. We are not reprimanding you. We are giving you praise. We are giving you praise. You don't know how powerful you are. You don't know how powerful you are. You don't know how powerful prayer is. You don't know how powerful prayer is, nor do you know that the light that you are, can extend beyond the idea of time and space, can extend beyond the idea of time and space. Today we wish to work on the legacy of war, and the misuse of authority and power, We're going to do this in very simple ways, and we are going to do this in very simple ways. We invite all who are present. To become light, to become the light. Imagine the spark in the heart. The divine self or monad, in full flame within you, and allow this flame to overtake you, to fill you with its pulse, and its joy, and its authority, and we invite you now to travel in time, as this very light, the first idea of war, to the first idea of war, whatever it was called, however it was enacted, however it was enacted, be it with a grunt, or a thought, or raise of a fist, You must do this now. Through that first memory, that first idea, that first agreement to war, and say these words. I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I serve in truth. I am free. I am word through this creation. Word, I am word. I am releasing creation. I am releasing this creation to its eternal light, to its eternal light. I am releasing creation. I am releasing this creation to the source of all things, to the source of all things. And names to him, and any names it is claimed, any language used to justify it, any language used to justify it, any fear holding it in place will also be dispelled by this intention, by this intention. I am word through the release of war. I am word through the release of war. Word, I am word. Word, I am word. Now you will say this if you wish. Now you will say this if you wish. On this night I claim that I am aligned to the highest, that I am aligned to the highest, and I align beyond any misuse, and I align beyond any misuse of authority in any enacted way, or imagined way that has ever been. And as I say yes to this, the light that I am will reclaim these ideas, and the karma attached to them, and the karma attached to them from the common field, and lift them all to the light, and lift them all to the light and to the high order, and to the high order of the upper room. I am word through this intention. I am word through this intention. Word, I am word. I am in the upper room. I am in the upper room. I have come. And finally, yes. Behold, I make all things new. So it will be so. God is. God is. God is. It is. It is. It is. It simply is. You feel the energy shift as a cold wind around you. As a cold wind around you, you are feeling the transmuting. You are feeling the transmuting that you claim that you have claimed in its action. Allow this to be. Allow this to be. Allow the light that you are. Allow the light that you are to be present for this, to be present for this. It is the light that does the work. It is the light that does the work. It is not the personality. It is not the personality. Blessings to each of you for your presence. Blessings to each of you for your presence. You are gifted. You are gifted, and we are gifted by your presence, and we are gifted by your presence. Stop now, please. Stop now, please.